Keanu soon reached the junction and saw the other engines hiding in some sidings by the main line. "Is everyone present and accounted for?" asked Keanu. "Now that you're here, we all are," said Charlie. "Good," said Keanu. "But as I was saying," Charlie suddenly said. "Enough of this already, Charlie," said Molly. "What are you guys talking about?" asked Keanu. "What have you been saying that's making Molly say enough?" "Well," said Alyla, "I was thinking that you ought to get a new name soon. Something like, I was thinking Oliver." "A new name? Why would I need a new name?" "Well, because, for one, you're going to a new place to try to work," said Alyla. "And, well, some people that try to escape from danger give themselves new identities to avoid being caught by their pursuers, if you get what I mean." Keanu rolled his eyes. "That's just for bad people who are trying to escape from the authorities. Fugitives, you might say." "Aren't we fugitives if we're trying to escape from bad diesels?" asked Waylon. "Not really," said Keanu. The engines looked at each other. "Well," said Lady, "I think Oliver would be a fitting name for you, Keanu." "Well, I don't," said Keanu. "I'm perfectly fine with my name as it is." "If you say so," said Alyla. "So now what?" asked Liam. "Do we keep going?" "We'll have to wait till the signalman gives us the all clear," said Waylon. "Indeed," said Alyla. "We don't want to be out on the line in case some bad engines are out there and we get spotted." Soon the nearby signalman gave the engines the all clear, and they set off down the line.
Heading down the road, I'm going round and round, walking through the light and through the free and easy land. All I want to know is how the world goes round. All I want to be is a traveling, be a wandering man. Well, you go one way, see it's some kind of fun way. Start exploring the two-way. Wow, it's just like a throughway. When you get to the freeway, can't be sure it's a freeway. Gotta find the true way. That's the only way home. Well, you go one way, see it's some kind of fun way. Start exploring the two-way. Wow, it's just like a throughway. When you get to the freeway, can't be sure it's a freeway. Gotta find the true way. That's the only way home. La 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 la.
The journey to Sodor took longer than expected. A few nights of traveling later, Keanu soon reached the junction and found Alyla stuck on the adjacent line. "Alyla," said Keanu, "what are you doing here? I figured you'd be further down the line with the others." "Oh, I ran out of coal," said Alyla, "and I was at the very back of the line of engines this time. And well, they couldn't hear me when I tried calling that I was out of coal. I barely had enough steam left to move into the siding out of the way." "I thought you would have come down the line sooner than later, but you took quite a while to get here. What happened?" "Oh, the diesels managed to catch up somehow," said Keanu. "Fortunately, some signalmen were able to hide me on an old quarry branch. They blocked the line with rubbish and kept me hidden for a couple of days." "A couple of days?" said Alyla. "Yes," said Keanu. "I was quite lucky, but also pretty nervous, scared, and other words that mean nervous and scared." "Yes, I can tell," said Alyla. Well, I'm just thankful no diesels came this way and took you away, said Isabel. As am I, said Toad. Mr. Keanu, what should we do? Well, obviously, we need to give Alyla my coal, said Keanu. Give me your coal, said Alyla. Can't you just push me to the next coal hopper? That'll mean that I have to push you and pull Isabel and Toad as well, and that'll slow me down. It's been hard enough pulling them already for several days. No offense. None taken. Yes, none taken. We understand. Take my coal and I'll go get some more, said Keanu. Alyla didn't want to argue, so their drivers and firemen moved Keanu's coal from his bunker to Alyla's. Once Alyla's fire was lit, she set off down the line. Don't you think we should have saved a little bit for you? Asked Isabel. But Keanu didn't answer. He continued down the line at a steady pace. But try as he might, Keanu couldn't make it to the next coal hopper, and he soon came to a stop near a yard. Well, that's just great, said Isabel. Now what are we going to do? Asked Toad. There wasn't time to think. Keanu could see something coming in the distance. It was the brake van of a goods train, and it was being shunted into one of the sidings near Keanu. At the other end of the goods train was Douglas. He couldn't see Keanu because he was behind the trucks, and Keanu's lamp had gone out, and it was very dark at night. Douglas had to move a couple of the trucks into another siding so the points wouldn't be blocked. He had just finished moving them into the right siding and was beginning to make his way back to Sodor. Keanu used what steam he had left to wheeze to get Douglas's attention. Douglas heard it. That sounds like a steam engine, he thought. The hiss came again. Who's there? Asked Douglas. A whisper came. Are you a Sodor engine? Aye, and proud to be. Well, my name is Keanu, and I'm here with my auto coach Isabel and my brake van Toad. I've run out of coal and have no more steam. But what are you doing out here so late at night? Asked Douglas. I'm escaping from Scrap and heading to your kingdom, said Keanu. Oh, is that so? Said Douglas. Well, I suppose I could get you there. It'll have to look as if you're ready for Scrap and I'm taking you away, though. Isabel and Toad were rather confused by this, but Keanu knew what had to be done, and Douglas popped up to him. The drivers and firemen agreed to help too, and everyone quickly began working. They had to take off Keanu's side rods, and they scribbled Scrap in chalk everywhere they could. When everything was ready, Douglas buffered up to Keanu. No time to turn around, I'll run tender first. Come on. And he slowly pulled the train away. But before they could clear the next station, they heard the barking of a watchdog and the whistle of a foreman. They knew they had to stop. Aha, yelled the foreman. A Great Western engine, an auto coach, and a brake van too. You can't take these. But they're all for us, said Douglas's driver. See for yourself. The foreman walked over and looked all over Oliver. Oliver's crew, who were laying on the floor inside Isabel, didn't dare breathe. Seems in order, said the foreman. All right, on your way then. And they set off once more. They waited until they were around the bend before breathing a sigh of relief. The sun rose as they made their way over the Vigarstown Bridge, and Keanu smiled a very big smile as he was pulled onto the rails of the Sodor Kingdom. Douglas brought the trio to Croven's Gate. "Here we are," said Douglas. "Welcome to the Kingdom of Sodor." "Shh," said his driver. "There's the works. We'll find a place for Keanu and his friends." Keanu said goodbye and thank you, and Douglas puffed away. "Well guys, we finally have it," said Keanu. "Freedom," said Isabel. "I just hope the others made it here okay," said Toad. "Yes indeed," said Keanu. "I guess we'll find out soon enough." Later that morning, Victor and Kevin were soon working on Keanu and his friends. Since Keanu's side rods had been removed, he had to be fitted with some new ones. But there was soon a problem. "I'm afraid the only side rods we have available are some ones that belong to our king, Edward," said Victor. "He has the same type of side rods as you, but the only ones we have that belong to him right now are some old ones that were taken off the other day. So they're in used condition and they're a little bit worn. They'll have to do until some new ones can come in." "Alright, do what must be done," said Keanu. "Just take it easy when you're doing some work," said Victor. "Don't wear them out too badly." "I'll try my best," said Keanu. Douglas soon returned to check on his new friends. "How's everything going, Victor?" he asked. "Everything's going fine," said Victor. "Not much that needs to be done on these three. Just need to add side rods on Keanu, remove these scrap labels, and give them some new coats of paint." "Great," said Douglas. "Keep up the good work. In the meantime, I'm going to start telling my friends about the new arrivals," and Douglas puffed away. "Well," said Kevin, "it's a good thing we don't have any other engines needing repairs right now. The ones that came in recently were quickly fixed and left last night, so now we can focus on these three without any delays or interruptions." "Quite right, Kevin," said Victor. "Please head to the back and look for Edward's old side rods, please." "Right away, boss," said Kevin. By the middle of the day, Keanu, Isabel, and Toad were restored and were ready to start work in the Sodor Kingdom. They headed to Vigarstown Yard. When Keanu arrived at Vigarstown Yard, he looked and saw several trucks scattered around the area. "Hey, it's a new guy," said one of the trucks. "He won't last more than 5 minutes here," said the empty truck next to him. The points behind Toad were changed, and Keanu shunted him and Isabel into a siding so he could do some shunting. "Be careful with those trucks, Keanu," said Isabel. "You know me, Isabel," said Keanu. "I have a knack with keeping trucks in line." The trucks started to giggle until Keanu started bumping them into place. "Oh, oh, oh!" Scruffy watched as Keanu quickly and efficiently began putting the trucks in their proper sidings and arranging goods trains. The trucks tried their hardest to cause trouble for Keanu. But no matter what kind of trick they tried to play on him, Keanu couldn't help but keep the trucks in order and kept bumping them fiercely. The trucks began grumbling. Keanu kept giving them very stern looks which made them shiver and made them silent. "Look sharp," Keanu would say, and he sent the trucks rolling into their sidings. By the end of the day, Keanu had the trains ready for the next day. Very good work, Oliver. Keanu, said Isabel. Yes, indeed, said Toad. I only hope those trucks don't try to pay you out. They wouldn't dare, they better not, or it'll be their last bad deed, said Keanu, and he puffed away. The next morning, Keanu came to collect some of the trucks. He gave them a long glare as he bumped them, and then shunted them into place. The trucks were beginning to show a little bit of fear for Keanu. Come along, let's go. Come along, let's go, said Keanu, and he pulled his train away. It didn't take long for the other engines to hear about the rescue of Keanu, Isabel, and Toad. They were quite intrigued by the story as Douglas told it to them. Wow, Douglas, said Logan. Saving an engine, a coach, and a brake van from scrap, that's quite an accomplishment. Indeed, said Hank. A feather in one's cap, as they say in the States, or in this case, a feather in your funnel. Begging your pardon, Hank, said Dan, but I don't know what he means is. We don't know what that means exactly. A feather in your cap or funnel? Well, it's just a phrase that means it's an accomplishment that you should be proud of. Ah, I see. Two trucks that were sitting in a siding, which were new additions to the Solar Kingdom, were listening in on the conversation. The truck at the back was quite interested in the story of Keanu. The blue truck wasn't sure what to think, whether he liked it or wasn't interested. On the other side of the yard, Scruffy was sitting in a siding, and he didn't take even a slight bit of interest in the story. Huh, he said, that Keanu and his train, they're gonna be of no use to this kingdom. I just know it. You don't know anything except how to be a nuisance, said James, and he bumped Scruffy hard. Now keep your mouth shut, will you? This made Scruffy very cross. But before he could retort, Keanu backed into the yard with Toad. Hello, Keanu, said Thomas. Keanu was looking rather embarrassed as he backed down towards a goods train. What's the matter, Keanu? Asked Connor. Well, said Keanu, Toad's coupling got tangled with my chain, and well, I can't get it untangled at the moment. I'm gonna have to pull him up at the front of that goods train over there that I have to take to Vigorstown. This is rather embarrassing. Well, think of it this way. At least you'll have some extra braking power in case you lose control of the train, said Toad. Uh-huh, sure, said Keanu, and he puffed away with Toad and the goods train. As soon as Keanu left, the engines began talking once again. I wonder why he couldn't get Toad's coupling untangled right away, said Dart. The steamworks isn't busy at the moment. I went by there earlier and there weren't any engines in need of repair or anything. Well, said James, you must have passed by there just before this new engine came to the steamworks. New engine? Said Hank. You mean an engine that's not Keanu? Yes, said James. I passed by the steamworks not too long ago, and there was this engine getting looked at in there. An engine I hadn't seen before. Just then, King Edward puffed up. Has Keanu left with his train already? He asked. Yes, said Connor. Is something wrong? No, nothing's wrong. I just wanted to make sure he was gone before this other engine came into the yard. And from behind Edward, Alyla puffed into the yard. Caitlin was on her way to Sodor with a passenger train when she found this engine stuck on the line. She had run out of water, and so she towed her to the steamworks, said Edward. Hello everyone, said Alyla. I'm so glad to be here in the Sodor Kingdom. I, like Keanu, was escaping from scrap, and so were some other engines, but I haven't seen them for a while. I hope they find somewhere safe, particularly here. Now listen up, said Edward as he puffed a little closer to the engines. I'm thinking, now that Alyla is here with us, we should have a little celebration tomorrow for Keanu. We'll surprise him with Alyla and celebrate him, Alyla, Toad, and Isabel being saved from scrap. Well, that's a great idea, Edward, said James. I second, said Hank, and the other engines agreed. In the meantime, said Edward, I'm going to give Alyla a tour of the standard gauge railway. Please make sure Keanu, Isabel, and Toad do not find out about Alyla's arrival. Will do, said the engines. But, said Dart, how is Keanu not gonna find out about Alyla if he's puffing around the railway? Oh, don't worry, said Edward. Keanu is taking that train to Vigerstown, which is a long way away. When he gets there, he'll likely be tired, and he'll be staying the night there. Ah, said the engines, that would make sense. Alright, said Thomas, so he'll stay the night there, and then he'll get to see Alyla sometime tomorrow. Correct, said Edward. The engines were excited. Come along, Alyla, said Edward. So, how far are we gonna go down the line before Vigerstown? Asked Alyla. We'll end our tour at Croven's Gate, said Edward. It's the second to last station on the main line before Vigerstown. Ah, I see, said Alyla. So we'll go that far so I don't see Keanu at Vigerstown. Edward showed Alyla several beautiful sights in the Kingdom of Sodor. He showed her all the stations on the main line and told her which trains and what cargo stopped there. He soon took the new engine across a large viaduct. This is the viaduct, said Edward. It's currently being repaired, so engines going across must go slowly to avoid it collapsing. Go slowly to avoid it collapsing. I can do that, said Alyla. Good, said Edward. By the end of the day, Edward had shown Alyla all the routes leading up to Vigerstown, but had not taken her to Vigerstown in order to avoid her seeing Keanu. Alyla was soon spending the night at the sheds by Croven's Gate. We look forward to our celebration for Keanu tomorrow, said Edward. You'll be a special part of it, and he puffed away. Alyla was excited, but she was also a little upset that she hadn't gotten to pull a train that day. She was hoping to do some work, particularly before the celebration. Otherwise, she would have to wait even longer to do some work and be really useful. So the next morning, Alyla woke up early and went to go collect some trucks or coaches. She soon found some coaches and plenty of trucks. She couldn't decide which one she wanted to pull, so she decided to pull both of them. She had been informed of the stops for both cargo and was taking all the trucks and coaches to the station. The remaining narrow gauge engines of the sheds watched as the long line of trucks went by. "That doesn't look safe," said Peter Sam. "It doesn't look smart either," said Rusty. Alyla was a strong engine, so she brought the train to the station with no problems. The trucks were grumbling. They were still upset of how Keanu was preventing them from playing any tricks or games. Keanu had even given them a warning to not play tricks on any other engines. This made the trucks crosser still, except for the last two trucks at the back. They were new trucks and were quite impressed by Keanu's skills and bravery. Alyla had arrived early enough to collect the passengers so she could take them to their destinations while still having time to deliver her truck cargo. While the passengers were boarding the coaches, Alyla's fireman had a problem inside the cab. Alyla's driver had started to feel ill that morning, and he could hardly stand by the time Alyla had reached the station. Her driver had called for a relief driver a little earlier, and the relief driver was almost to the station. Alyla's fireman had to help the driver out of the cab and bring him to the platform. Unfortunately, when the driver stepped out of the cab, he had been holding on to Alyla's regulator because he could hardly stay standing, and he had accidentally opened it, but he was too sick to notice, and the fireman hadn't taken any notice because he was the fireman and therefore didn't know what the controls did. Alyla had closed her eyes for a few minutes and hadn't seen her crew leave the cab. The last coach door had just shut when Alyla suddenly began moving. "Oh, we're leaving already?" she yawned. As the train slowly left the platform, the fireman returned with the relief driver. "Thanks for the help, we appreciate it. Alyla has to go too." Then he saw the brake van leave the corner of his eye. "Oh, look at that," said the fireman. "Alyla has gone off on her own." "Alyla has gone off on her own?" he cried. "What do you mean she's gone off on her own?" came a voice. The fireman turned around. Running up onto the platform was the guard for Alyla's train. The relief driver felt like fainting. "Oh dear, this is bad, 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 bad," said Alyla's fireman. "I better call ahead to warn the other engines," said the guard, and he quickly ran back inside the station. A few minutes later, Keanu pulled into the station with Toad. He was on his way to the steamworks to try to get his chain untangled from Toad's coupling. He looked off to the side and recognized Alyla's fireman. "Hey, you're Alyla's fireman," he said. "If you're here, is Alyla here?" "Yes," said the fireman nervously, "but she's gone off on her own with a full train." "A full train? Oh dear," said Keanu. Just then the guard returned with bad news. "Some careless trucks pushed an engine off the line and into a telephone pole not too far away," said the guard. "I can't make a call to warn the signalman down the line to halt traffic." "What do we do now?" said the relief driver. "The only thing we can do," said Keanu. "I'll have to chase her down and try to get you guys into her cab so you can stop her." "But that's nearly impossible," said the fireman. "I have to try," said Keanu. "Are you sure?" said Toad. "You're still stuck to me, so I might slow you down, and plus, your side rods are still the old ones that Edward had worn before. They're pretty worn, so I'm not sure how well you could do going fast." "Nothing will stop me from trying to rescue my friend," said Keanu. "Relief driver, fireman, into my cab, quickly." The driver and fireman quickly entered Keanu's cab. The guard stayed behind. "How'd you know that was a relief driver?" he asked. "I've worked with Alyla for many years," said Keanu. "I know her driver when I see him, and that wasn't her driver. But anyways, no time to waste. Come on, Toad, let's go catch her." Meanwhile, Alyla was enjoying herself enormously as she pulled her long train down the track. Man, I would have thought this train would be hard to pull, but it's actually quite easy, she said as she puffed along. But she noticed that she was going faster and faster. Driver, are we supposed to be going this fast? There came no reply. Fireman, yoo-hoo, hello. Still, there was no reply. Oh, I think I know what's going on, said Alyla. You two are playing a game of see who can be quiet the longest. Okay, I'll let you two keep at it. Just be sure to stop at the next station. As Alyla rounded the next bend, she saw Edward up ahead. Hello, Edward, she called as she approached. Edward whistled, but as Alyla went by, Edward saw there was no one in her cab. Alyla, there's no one in your Whoa! Edward suddenly swerved down another line and couldn't finish his sentence. Alyla misunderstood him. She thought Edward was saying, there's no one in your coach. There's no one in my coach? Oh, silly engine, what does he know? My coaches are filled to the brim with passengers. Then, Alyla could see the next station approaching. Time to slow down, she called to her crew. We need to let off some of the trucks here. But nothing happened. Alyla sped through the station at a high speed. She was very surprised. What's going on? She cried. Then she remembered what Edward had said. There's no one in my cab. There's no one in my cab. I can't stop. I'm sorry to say that the trucks heard Alyla and they realized they had a chance. Alyla has no driver or fireman. This is our chance, shouted Scruffy. Let's make an example of her to Keanu and show him what happens when he tries to ruin our fun. But the two trucks at the back didn't like that idea. Are you crazy? Shouted the blue truck. She's pulling coaches filled with passengers. Yeah, said the white truck, and she's got 2 fuel tankers too. If we crash, they could likely blow up and destroy us all. Tell someone who cares, shouted a salt van. Yeah, you tell them, said Scruffy. If you can't say anything supportive, don't say anything at all. And the trucks laughed loudly. On, they shouted. Help, help, cried Alyla. The passengers began to panic inside the coaches. Keanu and Toad weren't far behind. We're coming, shouted Keanu. The spiteful brake van at the back of Alyla's train heard Keanu. Heads up, guys, he shouted. Keanu's chasing after us. Scruffy became very cross. Rock yourself side to side, he shouted to the trucks. Shake yourselves hard to throw your cargo at him. Give him the goods. The trucks quickly obeyed and began shaking themselves, but most of their cargo just bounced across the track and out of the way. But as Keanu began to make it past the trucks, the cargo began to hit him. His paint started getting scratched, and his boiler was getting dented. It's not working. I can't get anything to come out of me. That's because you're empty, you idiot, shouted a slate truck. Then came more trouble. Up ahead was a crossing where the tracks went across each other. Watch out, Keanu, shouted Alyla as she ran over the crossing. Keanu didn't have time to slow down and he smashed into Scruffy. The impact was so great that Scruffy exploded into pieces. His pieces were thrown into a field, and Scruffy was very surprised. "Ouch!" he cried. Keanu raced by. He was still on the rails, but the impact had slowed him down. The brake van and the last two trucks, meanwhile, came off the rails. "That was a little too close for comfort," said the blue truck. "Thank goodness that's over," said the white truck. The brake van growled. He had been enjoying himself, but now the ride was over for him. The other trucks were shocked by what happened to Scruffy, but they kept on pushing. But Keanu quickly caught back up. Keanu spotted the fuel tankers and the coaches at the front of Alyla's train. "Goodness me," he cried. "What is Alyla thinking? Passengers and fuel tankers do not mix." The extra coaches and fuel tankers made it hard for Keanu to reach Alyla. They had just passed through Marin Station when Keanu realized something. "The viaduct is just after the next station," he said. "We have to stop Alyla before it's too late." "Our last hope is the big hill," shouted Keanu's driver. As the two engines made it up the hill, the weight of Alyla's train began to hold her back. This allowed Keanu to get alongside her cab. The relief driver prepared to jump across to Alyla's cab. "Hurry!" cried Alyla. "We're about to go down the hill." The relief driver quickly jumped. "Made it!" he cried, and he pulled the brake at once. Keanu managed to dart ahead. He managed to reach the points at the top of the hill and switched onto Alyla's track. Alyla came up behind Toad with a bump. Braking together, Keanu, Toad, and Alyla finally slowed the train down. The passengers cheered. The two engines soon stopped at Wellsworth. "Well," said Toad, "that's not a type of reunion you usually experience." "That's also not a type of train you usually pull," said Keanu. "Passengers with trucks, including fuel tankers, that's danger all caps." "I'm sorry," said Alyla. "Thank you for saving me." "It's quite alright," said Keanu. "I'm just glad you're safe. It's good to see you again." A short while later, King Edward caught up and met the engines at Wellsworth. "A very brave and daring rescue," he said. "Alyla, you can rest and then take the fuel tankers to their destination. The passengers have already gotten off here. And the trucks, well, the trucks lost most of their cargo, so they won't be going anywhere for a while. And Keanu, you'll need to go to the works for some repairs. Those trucks did a number on you. And well, you're not fit to go around the railway like that. If it's not too much trouble," said Keanu. "I think I'd like to be called Oliver from here on out." "Really?" said Edward. "Yes, hope it's not a bother." No bother at all. I'll have to make sure the engines know about this," said Edward. Oliver's repairs took a while, so the welcome the solar party that the engines had been planning was postponed for a few days. At last, Oliver returned. He reversed into the yard and was thrilled to see the rest of his old friends there waiting for him, along with his new solar friends. By that time, Alyla was feeling much better. She had had a talk with another engine and was now in better spirits. The solar engines proudly welcomed the engines that had escaped from scrap, and everyone was happy, but none were happier than Oliver.